Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTbase.com. Welcome to a weekly COT review. Today we're going to be analyzing the 18th Commitments of Traders Report of 2020. But before I go into the review itself, I'd like to answer a question that I've received. It's about how could anyone subscribe to our service without really understanding how it could be used for. Now, for those of you who are new to these reviews, and of course for all of you, our main page here on the top shows you many useful links. Let me start off with this help link at the end where you can find tutorial videos of the service, starting off with basics, explaining to you what kind of report types and data types there are, going into the analysis itself. And we've got some educational material from earlier. Also, we have this on COT page with written materials talking about all the details that are needed to understand what the COT report is, how you can analyze it. We've got some explanation on the different report types, the classic, the disaggregated, the TIFF, the CIT, of course, and of course we've got the typical setups page where we explain with examples how you can use them, and we show you what markets we cover as well. So a lot of information is available here at COT Base. Please check it out if you're new to COT, and hopefully you will find all the answers. So going back to the review and the 18th report, today I will show you the complex markets because I've received many questions on what these are, and I'd like to show you what we have constructed because these are actually very unique, only available at COT Base. So what we figured, like in this example that I'm showing to you, is we have all the wheat markets on top of our list: the Minneapolis wheat, the Chicago wheat, the Kansas City wheat. But of course, these are very significantly correlating markets. And we figured, how about combining all of those COT data into one? So what you see in front of you right now is the combined COT for all the wheat markets. And the way we did that is we basically created the US dollar equivalent of the COT positions, which of course, if you think about it, is quite simple. We've got contracts, we understand what the price is, so we can get to a dollar amount for each and every market, and then we combine those into one. So what we have here is we've got the Chicago wheat. I'm trying to focus on the top right corner here. You see the wheat market over there, and we've got this combined COT report. So what you could do if you were trading the Kansas City wheat, but you're interested in the total wheat COT data, you can simply switch to the Kansas City wheat, and you will get that market. The price chart above will show you the Kansas City wheat, but below it's the same complex COT report that I just talked about. And just going into the review itself, we have a 17% change in commercials positions all around wheat market, and 16 in large speculators, which of course is greater than average. It is a bullish COT signal suggesting some increase happening in wheat markets all over in the next couple of days. If we move on to the 5 years chart, then of course you can see that, and of course, again, we are still talking about the combined COT reports of all wheat markets. This complex COT report, you can see that we are more or less in between the two major extremes. You can see we had that beautiful bearish COT extreme back in July of 2017, just at that top. And of course, that was a significant bearish extreme. We have multiple examples of bullish extremes. We are more or less in between those two extremes. I'd say we should only focus on the COT change signal this week. So we're going to jump over all of those markets because we talked about wheat, and let's open the Euro British pound pair. And of course, we are talking about the COT change first. So we're going to go to the 1 year chart where it's more visible, not necessarily that easy to see. It's a larger than average change size, 13%, but nothing too unusual, slightly bullish. I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it. If we move on to the 5 years chart, you can see that we are still a bit closer to bullish COT extreme levels. But of course, keep in mind that we've been getting COT reports on the Euro British pound pair since early 2016. So it has a less COT history. Not not much to talk about here, I would say. So let's move on to the natural gas market with an 11% change over there in commercials positions. You can see that change size over here. I would say very, very close to average, nothing too unusual, but nevertheless, it's here. It is, of course, slightly bearish, suggesting some weakness happening early next week. If we move on to the 5-year chart, you can see that we are moving away from bullish COT extreme territory without any reaction from the market. Of course, we are not surprised to see that with recent happenings in the world. We are getting closer to bearish extremes. As you may see, the most bearish extreme from, well, there's an example from 2018, a beautiful example right at that top. We had another similarly large extreme back in May of 2017. So we're getting closer to those levels. So if we see any further increase in the market, and obviously we would expect traders to position themselves accordingly, then we would reach possibly a much greater bearish extreme at which you would be more inclined to taking the short side of the market. Moving on to large speculators COT Extreme, we've got the WTI crude oil on top of our list with an 89 report extreme. In large speculators, you can see that extreme over there. There's an unquestionable bearish extreme here, which could gradually increase to even greater levels. As you may see in the past, we had much greater extremes. We talked about natural gas. We're going to jump over that and arrive at corn with a 49 report extreme. So not that large extremes this week, but nevertheless, we can talk about them. And of course, if you see the charts, it's visually more understandable what we have. We have that 49 report extreme here. In large speculators, you can see that in the same exact report extreme in commercials as well. So what is this? This is, of course, a bullish COT extreme. You may see on this 5-year chart that this level seems to be, let me say, a good resistance level. So whenever traders reach that level, that was a good time to think about the long side of the market. Beautiful example from basically a year ago, exactly 1 year ago, 2019 May, just before the market rally. We have that extreme right now. It could increase more, so that's something you should keep in mind. But nevertheless, it seems to be a very nice signal. And last but not least, let me talk about silver with a 41 report extreme in large speculators. You can see that extreme over there, nothing unusual. We had that bearish extreme just before this decline, a beautiful example of how well COT extremes can signal changes in the trend. We moved away from those levels. Of course, we are not at any significant bullish extreme like the one from May of 2019 or the one from September of 2018. And of course, you can find multiple examples in the past, maybe the one July of 2017, a good one as well. So not much to talk about here, just to really see how well this last major extreme influenced the market. I would say it's still in place. This relative extreme is not necessarily as large as I would be happy with, but who knows. Of course, never forget COT analysis is mainly helpful for understanding stress levels in the market, knowing what major traders are doing, and it's quite easy to see what will happen once we reach those close to all-time COT extremes. We've got multiple examples of how these extremes were able to influence the market. Of course, there's a lot more to do here at COT Base. That was all for this review. Don't forget, again, you can find a lot of helpful information on our main page. Underneath these links, you will find all the explanation that you might need to understand COT analysis. I appreciate your attention. Thank you very much for being with me. I wish you a pleasant weekend. Take care. Goodbye.